Hi students. Okay bro.
ఏ లింక్ చేస్తున్నారు ఇప్పుడు? ఆ లింక్ కదా
కొత్తది
ఇప్పుడు పంపించింది
ఆ.
కదా లాక్ చేసుకోండి.
Hi students, welcome to today's The Hindu current affairs discussion. My name is Manoj Kumar. In this video, we will take a look at some of the important news of the day. So the first on the top you can see there has been advertisement related to HD Devgowda. So being an UPSC aspirant, we must be curious to learn new things. So HD Devgowda has been a former prime minister from the southern India, from the state of Karnataka, and he holds a unique distinction of being the only former prime minister currently living in India. Even at the age of 90 plus, he is currently the member of Rajya Sabha, and he still takes part in debates, lot of debates that we youth can learn. That so even at that age, he's committed. So when we can quote the former prime minister as an example related to coalition governments, how coalition governments can be unstable and can affect the India's security, India's foreign policy. So from the 1991 till 2014, India has a lot of coalition governments. So when we have coalition government, what happens? So in order to stay in power, we need the support of various other parties. So staying in power is like fighting within country, within the, like, some parties go out, some parties come in. So instead of we are looking outside, like focusing on defense or foreign affairs, we are more concerned about inward domestic issues. This has happened from 1919 to 2014. We can say, in one of the main questions they have asked, why coalition governments are more, we can say, they are contradictory to the democratic ideals. Why coalition governments have been pros and cons. So trade, energy, and global conflicts are top of agenda during Prime Minister's Norway visit. Currently, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a five-nation visit, starting from United Arab Emirates, followed by Norway, Netherlands, Italy. So there are 2-3 articles related to it. We'll take it. It was the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister in the 43 years to Norway. So it's one of the world's largest oil and gas exporter. So we are critically need of oil and gas. The visit also includes the third Nordic India Summit, bringing together the leaders of the 5 Nordic countries of Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and Denmark. So what are Nordic countries? The countries which share border with the Arctic Sea. So I will show you in the map. So India, Netherlands upgrade bilateral pact ties and sign 17 pacts. So though the countries are very small, they are leading powers or in terms of technology related to water recycling, agriculture, health, renewable energy. So there are leading powers leading superpowers, I can say, when it comes to the green energy. So Netherlands, though it's smaller than the state of Tamil Nadu, its combined export value of agricultural commodities is much higher than India. Imagine. So we can learn a lot from Netherlands. How can we improve the productivity of agriculture? How can we enhance the export value of agriculture goods, etc., etc. So if you have any doubts, you can put in the chat box. So you can see the map of Europe. So here we can see Finland, Sweden. These are Nordic countries. Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and what we say, another country that we forgot, Denmark, and Netherlands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the location of these countries become important. Suppose if you refer they have asked about which of the following countries share border with the Baltic Sea, which of the following countries share border with North Sea. So as the Arctic ice melts, so the northern route, sea route, that means the Siberia, the route becomes accessible. Suppose now we are going all through this route, let's say from around Suez Canal, and we are reaching these countries. Once the Arctic ice melts, we can straight away go from the Russia to here, which will reduce a lot of distance. So some of these Nordic countries are members of the European Union. So by having good relations with these Nordic countries, India can influence the European its interest in the European Union. So and also there is some special interest India. So there is an also editorial today's Oslo summit must mark India's northward turn. So India is, we all know, so India has a research projects in the Nordic countries, global leaders in green energy, as I have told earlier. So the Arctic Council knowledge sharing, Northern Sea Route. These are important things that you need to know. Remember, Himadri Research Station. So India, as a part of its Arctic policy, India, even our country has India's Arctic policy. Why we should go and do research there? Because the climate change that occurs there, whatever that happens there, will influence the Indian monsoon directly or indirectly. So 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 India is sharing. So Nordic strength in telecommunications, semiconductors, batteries, AI, and advanced material complement India's scale in engineering, talent, and manufacturing ambitions, supporting more resilient supply chains. So India is looking for new suppliers in semiconductors or critical minerals, etc., etc. So trade, here there is a detailed PPT with regard to global diplomacy, domestic policy. We can see India is, it becomes very important part of international relations. India's evolving strategy in the Arctic and Nordic region. The northward shift, because scientific knowledge sharing, the northern sea route I have told earlier, the Arctic Council. So India enjoys observer status since 2013. These are some of the things that we have discussed: green transition, technology, linkages. So there is a considerable bilateral trade also happens. So they are, though the Netherlands and all, they are far away countries, they are also figure in the top 10 trading partners of India, and they also invent a significant amount of money in Indian investment. Like, so we have signed 17 agreements with the Netherlands, which include semiconductors, critical minerals, and green energy. So India has surplus manpower. So it's, we have a lot of educated youth, but there are no jobs. So India is looking and signing mobility pacts with different countries. So some of our doctors, nurses, they can go and work in the Netherlands. So some of our engineers, they can go and work. Some of our students who are in need for higher education, they can go and study there. One, migration and mobility, maritime gateway. So the Rotterdam port is one of the significant and busy ports of Europe. So India wants to use that port to export its goods to Europe. So, so what are the key pillars of the Dutch partnership? I told you, right? Water management, agriculture, semiconductors. These are the three key pillars. So it will, the Dutch government will help in will share the technology that is needed in cleaning rivers like Namami Ganga. We are facing a lot of issues like water pollution. Focus on food security and sustainable cold chain logistics to reduce agriculture wastage. So though we are the leading producer of agriculture, a lot of agriculture produce gets wasted due to lack of cold chain. So this Netherlands will share its expertise matters related to cold chain management, strategic collaboration, chip design, and supply chain resilience for future technology. So even semiconductor field also, both the countries will have good. The map becomes of all these countries become very important. So we have now completed. Sunil ఉన్నాడక్క, సునీల్. కాదు, ఇది అయిపోయింది. ఏం కాదు,
ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ పెట్టాలి ఇది.
అంటే ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ మళ్ళీ షార్ట్గా అయిపోయింది కదా. ఇది కాదు, ఇది మొత్తం ఇది రావాలి కదా ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్.
నువ్వు దేంతో ఓపెన్ చేసినావు? ఇది అసలు అడోబ్ కాదు కదా, అడోబ్లో ఓపెన్.
మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ ఎడ్జ్. ఓకే
ఓకే అంతేనా?
వచ్చింది. So now we have another news article with SC ordinance. With ordinance, SC judges strength up from 33 to 37. So ordinance power, when you talk about ordinance power, we have to remember the article 123. Article 123. So at present, the Supreme Court strength is 33 judges plus 1. Chief Justice of India, 34. Now the ordinance raises the strength of the judiciary from 33 to 37 plus 1. 37 judges plus 1 CJA. So you need to know about the ordinance means it is made by the president without the approval of parliament. Generally, the parliament is concerned with law making. So here we can a previous question has been asked. So the power to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court of India is vested in whom? A, the President of India, B, the Parliament, C, the Chief Justice of India, D, the Law Commission. So the answer for this is the Parliament. So only the Parliament can increase or decrease the strength of the Supreme Court. So the ordinance is the temporary lawmaking power of a Parliament held by the President, who exercise it on the recommendations of the Cabinet or Prime Minister, Council of Ministers. So what is the life of a ordinance? It is just 6 months. If it is not ratified within that period by the Parliament, it lapses. So suppose if the Parliament disapproves that ordinance, again also it will lapse. So now we will see the next article. So VD Sadishan names 20-member Kerala cabinet swearing in today. VD Sadishan is the new Chief Minister of Kerala. So now here you need to remember one thing. What is the total legislative strength of Kerala? 140. So you need to remember this one simple thing. I will ask one simple question. What can be the maximum size of a council of ministers? It is 15% of the total legislative strength, total legislative assembly, state legislative assembly. Let's say the provision was added to the constitution by 91st amendment 2003 amendment. So suppose in this case there are 140 MLAs. That means into 15 by 100, 15%. Now we cancel 210 by 10. So exactly the maximum limit of a cabinet in Kerala is 21. So they are having exactly 20 plus 1, the one chief minister, having a 21-member cabinet. Did you understand maths, right? In a state, the maximum number of the cabinet size can be 15% of the total legislative strength. Let's say if even in a state there are 100 MLAs, so the maximum number of council of ministers can be 15. As this Kerala state of us has 140 MLAs, so the maximum cabinet size is 21. So here we will take a look at one question related to cabinet system. Out of the following statements, choose the one that brings out the principle of the underlying the cabinet form of government. So an arrangement for minimizing the criticism against the government whose responsibilities are complex and hard to carry out to the satisfaction of all. a mechanism for speeding up the activities of the government whose responsibilities are increasing day by day. A mechanism of parliamentary democracy of ensuring collective responsibility to the government of the people. D. A device for strengthening the hands of the head of the government whose hold over the people is in a state of decline. So, can anyone answer this question? The chat box you can reply. So, the answer for this is C. A mechanism for parliamentary democracy and ensuring collective responsibility of the government to the people. Now, we'll move on to the next question. Ebola outbreak in Congo is a global emergency, says WHO. So, WHO, where is it located? World Health Organization, Geneva, Switzerland. So, it acts as a global body to coordinate matters of health, global health security. So, it declared Ebola outbreak in Congo as global emergency. So, you need to understand that there are various levels of classification: global emergency, like pandemic, disease of international concern. It is a where it has emerged. Congo. Where is Congo is located? Congo is located in Africa. So, Ebola is a highly contagious and can be contracted via bodily fluids such as vomit, blood, or semen. So, here there is Ituri province in Congo. When you check the PYQs, the places in use, they have asked about Ituri, ITURI. So, caused by rare virus in Congo and neighboring Uganda. So, we have all discussed. So, and WHO again said that it does not meet the criteria of a pandemic like COVID-19. So, there is no need for international closure of borders or something like that. Is a So, if you have any doubts regarding today's news articles, you can ask. So, the articles that we have discussed in today's videos are: one related to the India's Prime Minister Modi's visit to the 5 nations in the European Nordic countries. The second article was related to the increase of the strength of the judges. And third article was related to the cabinet size. And the fourth article was related to the outbreak of the the Ebola disease in the Congo. So, with this, we end our today's current affairs video. If you have any kind of doubts, you can please ask in the chat box. If there are no doubts, we can wind up the session today.